welcome to another episode of the Advisory Studio, and today we are going to start a 4-part series where I'm teaching about the framework that I teach or that I use to help people who are wanting to pivot from their 9 to 5, from their current situation, or the one move to the next step. Pivot is what it literally means, a turn. That means you're moving from something into something else, and sometimes that turn, that pivot might be challenging for different reasons. You don't know how to, you don't have the information. You might have information gap, knowledge gap, execution gap, mindset gap, right? And we'll go deeper into these things. So today I'm starting teaching my 4-part framework, Pivot, which helps people to move from where they are, where they want to be. It's primarily a professional framework, ideally used for people wanting to move from the 9 to 5 and transition into business, or wanting to grow their business, or wanting to scale the business. Okay, the good thing about a framework is once you get to the end, it's always a cycle. There's always some way to start again. So we'll start with the P today. We're going to talk about P. So the acronym PIVOT, simple to remember. Pivot, pretty simple to remember, but what we're going to focus on today is the P. Okay, so what does P stand for? What I've made it stand for, and I guess I didn't give the background of, this is the formula that I've used. Now I'm at the other end where I've successfully pivoted from a job, from a 9 to 5 into business. I've grown my business and now I'm scaling my business. This is when I'm at the end, they sort of like, how did I do it, right? So I'm giving you a roadmap, the step-by-step to how to get to that position. Okay, so I've personally applied it in my life, and I've personally helped other women to make this move using the pivot formula. The last place I taught it was at the retreat. One of my colleagues attended a retreat in Bali. That's, I think, the last place where I taught this formula. So yes, this is what I'm going to teach you today. So we're starting at P. P, like I said, is an acronym for pivot. So the P, what it stands for. So maybe this might be an episode that you might need to have a paper and pen and write things down, because obviously it's harder to keep everything in your head. You might think you do, right? And this is the magic of writing it down. When you're writing, there's an extra level of learning that you're doing. So get to the habit of, most times you're listening to somebody, make sure that you're also writing it down. It sort of seals or cements the learning, okay? But I think for this episode, you need to write the acronym down. So obviously, when you reference it back to yourself, you know, and it makes sense, okay? So P stands for pinpoint. Very simple. Finger, you pinpoint, okay? So a lot of the times, or the challenge that comes when people trying to move from a 9 to 5 to a business is when you're in a business, when you're in your work. Remember when you applied for a job, when you wrote your resume and they interviewed you and they asked you, so what skills do you bring to the business or to the workplace, or why do you think we should employ you? Or when you filled in the application form, when you list all the good things that you're bringing into the business, this is what we're doing. Usually with the first step of this formula, the P. You're pinpointing your goodness. So I like to call it goodness because it's a package of several things. You're pinpointing your expertise. So if you have a qualification, you've been accredited, you have a certificate in something, a diploma, a degree, a master's, you know, you've been certified, you've been board certified by institutions, right? That's what we call expertise, right? And these are usually my favorite type of people to coach, because sometimes those are the hardest people to pivot, because they think, okay, so I've got this expertise, but how do I now use this within my own business? Okay, so I love these people because they don't recognize how much gold they have. Yes, okay, so P, you're pinpointing your expertise. So if you're one of those people, so for me, I'm a mental health nurse, that's my expertise. I also did psychology, I also did NLP training, I've also done the ICF coaching, I have done CBT, I have done, so those are all the things I've been certified with, okay? So when I'm writing my list of the things, when I'm pinpointing my expertise, those are what I would list. So you need to list your degrees. Are you an accountant? Are you a lawyer? Are you a social worker? Are you I don't know, whatever you've been certified in. P, we're pinpointing. So we talk about expertise, but we don't stop there, okay? So if you've not been certified by an institution, you're not ruled out, okay? So with this P, we include expertise and or, okay? So it's not the exception. If you don't have expertise, doesn't mean this formula doesn't work for you. We also look at your knowledge, right? Knowledge is the things you know, okay? So I know about motherhood. Why? Because I've raised 3 boys. My boys, 2 are technically adults, 20 and 18, right? And I've got right? So I have some knowledge about raising children. I have knowledge around being a boy mom. I have some knowledge around raising teenagers. I have some knowledge around adolescent, about babies. I have knowledge on pregnancy because I've gone through pregnancy. I can help women around miscarriage. I experienced that twice. I have knowledge around marriage. I have knowledge around, I don't know, like you can see, I can keep going. So those are all the things that you can list down. And I want you to literally say, so what are my expertise? If you've got to create a column for that. And then the second one, your knowledge. What are things that you know? I am very good at baking. I've been baking since I was a child. So I've got plenty of knowledge on cakes and pastries and all those things, okay? I've got knowledge on migrating. I've migrated 3 times. From Africa, Zimbabwe to the UK, from the UK to Australia. I've got knowledge around that. So it could be things those are knowledge of things you've done. I've had a job in the UK, so I can talk about how to get a job. I can talk about how to start a business because I've done that. That's knowledge. So it lists all the things that you know, confidently know that you could teach somebody. And then the third column is lived experience. So you could have all 3. If you have all 3, good. But if you don't have expertise, you can have knowledge. If you don't have knowledge, you can have lived experience. People are making profession just on lived experience alone. They actually make, if they're very good at strategy and maneuvering and execution, actually make more money and impact than people with all these certifications. Okay, so don't rule yourself out if you think you don't have all the other 2. Okay, lived experience. What have you gone through? So for example, they might closely link with knowledge, but sometimes they're different. So I have lived experience of being an immigrant in Australia. I've got lived experience of being an immigrant in the UK. I've got lived experience of being a mom. I've got so something you've gone through. So sometimes it's just knowledge, but when you talk about lived experience, it's a bit deeper. I know they sound similar, but they're different. If you want to talk about someone's got knowledge, someone's got lived experience, they've actually gone through things like that. So you write your 3 columns. If you have 3, brilliant. You've got no excuse why you should not be able to pivot successfully. Okay, and like I said again, if you don't have the other 2, if you don't have certification in something, it doesn't mean you cannot use this formula. It doesn't mean you cannot successfully pivot. You can and make impact and make money. Okay, so that's the P. Okay, why is it important for us to identify? Because sometimes we're in a job, you get so bogged down or locked in doing the mundane, doing your job, and you don't realize that those are those skills that really set yourself up in a business. The same skills I was being paid for in my job are the same skills I can have in my own business. Those will be the foundations of my business. Okay, so I can open a business and coach people around motherhood, around raising boys, around motherhood journey, around pregnancy. I run a consultancy service around psychology, coaching, and my nursing all blended together. That's how I've successfully put that together, and now I help enterprises with all those 3, because they're all coming together. So the more you can blend in as much as you can together, the more powerful you become, and the better you can pull as much as you've done into one. You're going to be very powerful. So that's literally it, really. The first stage is pinpointing, and I like to call it pinpointing, but I want to say that's your unique signature. That's your uniqueness, because the blend of me, so I might be a psychologist, I might be a nurse, I might be an accountant, I might be a lawyer. That's my expertise. My knowledge might be different from the other psychologists, from the other nurse, from the other psychologist. Maybe they're not a mother. Maybe they're not a black mom. Maybe they're not a mother who's migrated 2 times from Africa, from the UK to Australia. So then you see my uniqueness, that's my power. Because my storytelling is going to be so unique, different from the other nurse, from the other psychologist, from the other coach. And that's where the work starts in. So if you work with me, or if you work so well in understanding or pinpointing your goodness, like I told you, all these are called your goodness, you're going to be very powerful, because you're going to be unique. No one has your story. No one has your lived experience. No one has your perception, understanding, and objectivity and subjectivity, and the way you see things, the way you feel, the way you understand, the way you see people. It's different to the next person, and that's the power. Right? We've been told a lot of times in school that you need to blend in and be like everybody else. I'm telling you, what makes you different from everybody else? So between your expertise, your knowledge, and your lived experience, that blend is your uniqueness, and that's what we're pinpointing on the P, and that's what we're going to package and take it to the next level, the I, which we're not going to talk about today. We're going to talk about another day, okay? But this is the first part of the framework. So that's my homework for you today. If you are struggling and thinking, what do I have? I can possibly not start a business. Yes, you can, because I know you know something. You've got some knowledge, you've got some lived experience in your life, right? So you've got some things you've gone through. And if you're an expert, you've been certified in something, now you add the credentials that you have on top of that, now you become an expert with all this knowledge and experience and lived in experience. No one can stop you with that, but no one has told you to look at it that way. Because when you're going through a job, you're all nurses, you're all social workers, you're all lawyers, you're all accountants, you're all everything. But what makes you different? What's your lived experience, and what's your knowledge, understanding of the world? That's the P. So go do your homework, and next time, make sure, don't skip this, because if you do, then the P, the I, V, O, T are not going to make sense, or they won't be as effective, especially if you're stuck in trying to pivot, or you're stuck in trying to grow, or you're stuck in trying to scale. Is what else can I do now to move to the next level? That's what the pivot is about. So if you're going to skip the stage, all the other stages are sort of like, won't kind of make sense to you, okay? So I need you to start at the P. So, like I said, I did say, make sure you're writing things down. If not, go to the beginning of this video and listen from the beginning, and make sure you write down those 3 things, or the one that applies to you. Then come back where we have another recording. We're going to go through the I. The I stands for identify. Okay, so we're talking about that in the next series. Let me know if this resonated with you. Let me know what light bulb moment did you have. Let me know what this brought up. Maybe sometimes you're thinking, can I make something out of this? Yes. Put those in the questions or DM me. Let's have a conversation around it. Whatever came out for you. Maybe you got excited, maybe you got a bit confused, maybe you got a bit apprehensive, whatever it is, let me know, because those are the things that I like to draw out and we can start working on that. Because sometimes it's not as clear. Me, on the hindsight, I'm working on hindsight, so I sort of know what I'm doing, okay? But if it's your first time applying this formula for yourself, it might be a bit daunting, it might be a bit scary, it might be saying, should I believe that? You might be skeptical. So let me know all your thoughts. And then we're going to take it to the next level. Next session, we're going to go into the I. Hope this makes sense. And this is the formula that I teach people in order to help them move, turn, change, pivot strategically into something more impactful, more fulfilling. We can make more money, can get more challenged. Because sometimes we're in spaces where you're bored. I literally told my husband in my previous job I was going to lose my mind. That's how dead that place was. I felt my mind was I was losing brain cells. Is what I always used to tell him. I'm losing my brain cells. So sometimes you need a place where it's more challenging, more exciting, more fulfilling, more thrilling, more whatever you're looking for. More money, more impact, more purposeful. Those are all reasons why you should be pivoting and not staying. I'm one of those people that doesn't believe that you stay in places for the sake of, I did my degree, so I'm throwing it away, rather than staying in a place that's dead, a place that you're losing brain cells, a place that you're losing your well-being, losing your health. That's one of my stories, right? I was in a place where I was losing my health, both mentally and physically. Was it a job, right? One of those days where you have to stay in a job for the rest of your life. You can create a job for yourself, you create a job description for yourself. That's what I literally did. Okay, and that's something I want to teach you. If you're tired of being in spaces where you don't quite fit in, you're very creative, you've got all these amazing ideas, and it's sort of not fitting into the job descriptions that you're finding. This is what I did, and that's my story. I should have started that at the beginning. But for me, I'm a framework person, I'm an IP person, I'm a systems person, and in a job that doesn't work because there are already frameworks and systems already in place. So that place will stifle me. So some of you may be in a place where you feel stifled, feel suffocated because you've got all this creativity and it's not being used. So why don't you take it into a space where now you can create, innovate, and use all those other skills that you have. Okay, so that's the idea of what we're talking about pivoting. I don't believe you have to die the meal. I don't believe you have to sacrifice yourself. You can, as an exit strategy. I'm in this place whilst I'm getting myself out. I'm in this place because I need the money as the investment for my next project. I'm here whilst I'm working my way out. I'm working on my plan B, so I'm just here for strategy, to learn more, to make more money, to whatever. Otherwise, you should never be stuck in a place because there are no options, there are no possibilities. I've got this degree, I'm doing it for the money. There are many ways to make money happily. Okay, I was at an event last week, and one of the women on the stage in the panel said, we've been taught as women that we should hang in there because it shows resilience, it shows that you are tough and you can survive. And she said, you don't have to always learn the hard lessons. There are many other type of lessons to learn. And she said some of these places, you can't change them. The boss is never going to like you. The staffing is never going to like you. The job is not going to change. You can't change the job structure. You can't change the workload. You can't change, for example, you can't change shifts. For these different jobs, you can't change the shift cycle. It's shift work. That's the type of work schedule they have. So if that doesn't work with you, with your body, with your family, whatever it is, then get a place that you don't have to have shifts. You have to learn to design your life according to the way you want to. We've been taught that you get what you get, which is one of the things I took my son out of school. One day I came to pick him up and they were saying, you get what you get and you don't get upset. And she said, say it again, you get what you get and you don't get upset. No, you don't get what you get and you don't get upset. Change it. You will not trees, you will not bears. If you don't like where you live, you move. If you don't like the weather, go to a warmer place, go to a colder place, whatever you like. We're not trees subjected to, we have to live in the tropics with this cactus to survive. You're not a tree. You're not a polar bear that has to stay in the cold because it's got the fur, whatever. We're human beings. We've got choices, we've got options, we've got imagination, and we can move. Contrary to what we've been told, you have a choice, you've got options. So maybe today it's a question of, well, do I really want to be here? Or am I following a system? Am I following, some of us think that we're thinking, but we're actually just following a conditioning we've been taught. You're in a job that you never even decided for yourself. You're living in a country that you probably never decided for yourself. The way you do things, you never decided for yourself. The society decided it for you, your family decided it for you, you never had a say. So maybe that's where you need to start off today and think, how much of my life now do I own? Did I actually decide this job I am in, this lifestyle I'm living? Did I decide to do that? Or was I just following a conditioning, a pattern? So have these thoughts with yourself, and if you arrive to a place where you say, no, actually, I don't want this anymore. I don't like my job, I don't like my lifestyle, I don't like the way I live, how I live, then you can change. I'm giving you the permission to do that. And maybe that starts with this formula that I'm teaching you today, the pivot formula. We've spoken about the P. How are you going to make that change? Start with the P. Pinpoint. Your goodness is what I like to say, call it. Okay, so hopefully this has helped you. I put a bit of teaching in there, I put a bit of coaching in there, but it's all trying to get a message to you. Though you don't have to. There are no haves in life. You can choose and or. You can have this and. There are no haves to. I don't believe that. So if this resonated with you, then join me in the next episode. We're talking about the I. Okay, that's the formula we're talking about. The I is identify. Okay. Okay, that's what we'll be talking about in the next episode. So catch you there. So remember, take care of yourself. Stay open. Because the more you're open to things, the more you learn. And I want you to test everything from now on. Okay? Take care.